Good morning, children. In your previous class, I have explained you My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das, and discussion about this poem is done. In today's class, I will be discussing with you question answers and also the summary of the poem, which you can also write it down in your notebooks. These are the word meanings provided to you from the poem My Mother at 66, where ashen means pale and grey like ash, corpse means dead body, sprinting means running, spilling, moving out quickly. Wan refers to colorless appearance, giving the impression of illness. Pale refers to dull, ache refers to deep pain. These words are explained to you in the poem also, but you need to write down these uh, word meanings in your notebooks. Now, the summary of the poem is given to you here. The summary explains that the poem talks about the inevitable side of the life by focusing on the process of aging through the poetess mother. She has done so through the recollection of her experience of her mother. She is recollecting the memories. The last Friday morning, now we are explaining you first in the summary part. First, you have to explain what this poem tells you about, and then you explain what is given in the poem. So now the poetess is explaining it. The last Friday morning, the poetess was driving from the parental house to Cochin. She looked at her mother, who was seated beside her. Her mother was dozing with open mouth. She looked pale and dull, almost ashen. She then felt a glimpse of passing pain. That passing pain is of losing her mother. She soon turned her attention away from her mother and looked outside. The young trees are described as sprinting because she is traveling in a car. The poetess has also given her the image of merry children spilling out of their homes for two reasons. Now you are going to explain that reason also. First, it is the morning time, the children coming out of their home to go to their schools merrily. Secondly, and more importantly, gives a contrast to the sad and pale mother's image, who is 66 years old, where the contrast is shown. The combination of the old age is in the car and the childhood outside presents a perfect contrast to the theme of the poem. This contrast is also explained to you in the poem, where mother is reflected as the aged a person with dull looks. On the other hand, children were lively, happily going and playing outside, moving outside. The mother later is being compared to the winter moon because she had turned 66 and looked much pale and withered, just as the winter moon looks under the influence of fog and mist. Both the late winter moon as well as the mother are in the last innings. The moon is also looking dull, and even the mother, so that comparison is made here. Similarity is shown between the moon and the mother. The parting words of the poetess and her smile signifying that she may not be hopeful of seeing her mother again, but she is not a pessimistic person. Although she is not hopeful that her mother is going to live for a long time, but she is showing the positive attitude. She is not a pessimistic person, and she wishes to see her again, and also console her mother by saying that they would meet soon, so that she doesn't feel disappointed and dejected. This short poem presents the inner thoughts of the poet, woven with observation of the real world. Now, this is the summary of the poem, which I quickly dictated it to you. Now, I will be talking to you about the questions, practice questions based on extracts. Now here the extract questions comes, where the examiner gives you an extract, and you have to answer the questions according to the extract given to you. I saw my mother beside me, doors open mouth, her face ashen like that of the corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. Now, these are the lines taken from the poem. Now, a poet, this extract is taken from the poem. Now, questions are asked to you based on this extract. That is, what worried the poet when she looked at her mother? Now you have to give the answer. The key to answer to this answer is that the poet is worried about her mother's old age. She know that she is very old now and she is dull. Her body is looks like a corpse, and she'll not be living longer time, so she is worried of losing um, her mother permanently due to death. So that is worrying her, the poet, the daughter of this old lady. Now, why was there pain in her? Why was there pain in her realization? So you have to tell that what kind of pain the face that she's going through when she realized this, when she realized her old age mother. So you're going to answer this question like that the face of the mother didn't appear to be attractive. It is not lively, it is not healthy, it's dull. So due to old age, this all things have been there. So she looked terribly old, lifeless and cheerless, and this sight of her mother made her sensitive, and this realization came over her mind. So this is the pain which she realized, that she is no longer be with her because she is growing old. Now, next question is, why did she put that thought away? You know that when we are worried, we just wanted to move our thoughts away from the worried thought. So same thing is applicable here. The poetess is worried about her mother's losing her mother permanently due to her death, and so she wanted to go move away from the thoughts, that negative thoughts. So she wanted that uh, she wanted to move her mind from those painful thoughts of being separated from her mother. That is why she put her thought away by looking at the moving trees and children. She viewed outside the window. Now you have to identify the figure of speech used in this line. Which is the figure of speech used in this line? You know that she is being compared with the corpse, that just as a like that of a corpse. Here the comparison is made simile. So like with the dead body, her mother look is compared with dead body, look of like that, dead looks, dull looks. So the figure of speech used here in these lines is simile. So you can even explain the lines that where she compares, the poetess compares the dull mother's looks, open mouth and ashen her face, with that of a corpse. Now, these are the this type of questions will be there in the reference questions to you. You'll be answering these questions. I have already discussed it with you. Now, another kind of questions would be there with you is that of, for example, what were Kamala Das' childhood fear? Now, what is her childhood fear? That she was going through this fear of losing her mother when she was a child. The fear of death and decay was also there, and losing her mother was there. And presently, here she is feeling that fear of losing her mother permanently. So please reflect that losing her mother is the main fear, which is now more stronger because she is finding it difficult that her mother is going to no more be there and she will permanently leaving the world, and that's how this fear is reflected here. What were the poets feeling at the airport? Now you have to tell, these questions are simply from the text. You have to tell that what kind of feeling the poetess is going through at the airport. You know that at airport she again looked at her mother face. She compares her face with that of a dull moon, wintry moon. And she also says that although she is not hopeful of meeting her mother again, but internally she wanted to end this meeting on a positive note. So she gave a smile to her mother and parted with her mother on a positive note by passing smile to her. So that is what should be written in this answer. What were the poets feeling at the airport? Now here another question is there. Why has the mother been compared to the late winter's moon? You have to tell this answer, that why she is being compared to late winter moon. That she is being compared to late winter moon because winter moons are not very clear because of fog and mist. Her mother face is also looking like that. Her face is also dull, and it is not having any shine, any strength. So it's quite natural to compare. The comparison looks quite natural, that it is being compared with late winter moon. Now, having looked at her mother, why does Kamla Das looked at the young children? Again, the same question which was given to you in this reference question, that why did she put that thought away. It's a similar kind of answer will come here, where you have to reflect that when the poetess looked at her mother, she was going on with the thoughts, dull thoughts of losing her mother. She's looking dull again, corpse like and pale, and she wanted to shift her thoughts from those painful thoughts. So she looked outside the window at the running trees, sprinting trees, and the children who are playing outside their home. So just to move her thoughts from those negative feelings, she looked outside. So this kind of questions are asked to you. I'll be sending you these question answers to you. Apart from that, sometimes these are very short type of question answers, which I have already discussed with you. Now children, few more questions I have done, which are little bit thinking order questions. What is the kind of pain and ache that the poet feels? Now the explanation to this answer is that where the poet sees the dull and pale corpse-like face of her mother, the old familiar pain returns um, for her mother. That pain is of return, that old familiar pain returns of losing her mother getting old, and with her aging, she feels the pain of separation from her mother, and due to death, as decay and death spares none. So, this would be the answer to this question. Describe the contrast of scene inside the car with the activities going on outside. Describe the use of image that the poet employs to strike that contrast. Now, children, there is a contrasting image presented in the poem, and it is really part of these poetic devices, or the part of poetry, and which enhances the poetic effect. So the contrast presented here is also enhances the poetic effect, where on one side mother is sitting at the back who is dozing, her face is looking lifeless, pale, corpse like, and on the other hand this image of her mother is of aging and decay. On the other hand, the children who are playing happy, moving out of their homes, and this image is of happiness and full of life. So this contrasting image is presented here. This forms an important question, children, where contrasting images presented of children and aging mother. Now next is your, why has the mother been compared to the late winter moon? Now uh, this question is already given to you, and there you have to write down this answer. The simile used here is very effective. The poet's mother is 66 and her face is dull, pale, resembling a corpse. She has lost the shine and strength of her youth. So the late winter moon is also lacking the shine due to fog and mist, and hence the comparison is quite natural and appropriate. So there are few questions which I'll be giving it to you, which you'll be writing down in your notebooks. These are, where is the poet going and who is with her? Simple question. It is just from the poem. You can easily answer that. Why does the poet put that thought away and look outside? You have to answer this question as well. That why she wanted to put away that thought. You know that she wanted to shift her attention from that dull thoughts of losing her mother. Why are the young trees described as sprinting? This is a simple question. When we are moving in a car, we see the things moving outside the window, and they are referred as sprinting because she is moving in the car and the trees seems to move backward. That's why they referred as sprinting, as if they are running. What was the Kamala Das childhood fear? This type of questions are children direct questions simply from the text. Whatever poem is given to you, what you understand, these questions should be from the poem itself. Simple answers should be written to it. Now, what was Kamala Das' childhood fear? You know what is his childhood fear? And now in this question, you have to understand what is her childhood fear of losing her mother. Earlier in her childhood, she also felt that fear of losing her mother, and presently also she is going on with the same fear of losing her mother, but this time it is a permanent loss of her mother because of death and aging and death and decay. What were the poet's feeling at the airport? How did she hide them? Now you know what are her feelings. Although, uh, again, when she looked at her mother, that gave her a sad thought of her mother moving away from her permanently, but she overcome that thoughts and tried to show her positivity through her smile, and she hides all her feelings which were inside her of losing her mother. So I think in detail I have already in the explanation of the poem we have discussed the poem, and these question answers are also explained to you. Now I hope you all will be able to answer these questions very well in your notebooks. Thank you, class. Thank you very much.